Do.
Hey, we're live. I don't know.
It never gets old.
It
Never gets old.
Live on your TV screen
Oh,
or YouTube or wherever you're watching right now. But good morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning. Happy
I'm-
Friday.
I am the brawny man, and I brought paper towels.
The quicker picker upper.
Yeah, exactly.
Very nice.
All right, we got a show to do here, folks.
Today, and a nice, cool start here. We do end up in the low 80s inland, and we'll be in the mid and upper 70s along the lake shore. Waves are going to stay low really through the weekend. Clear skies tonight down to 60 and mostly sunny and hotter on Saturday with a high of 87. We should be close to 90 on Sunday and Monday. I'm meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
This is Berrien County Under Sheriff Chuck Height, and you're listening to the morning show on WSJM.
Yes, you are. Good morning. You can be part of the show anytime. You can always call 925-WSJM. You can email letstalk@WSJM.com. You can also find us live on Facebook, YouTube, the X. You can feel free to comment on anything that we're talking about, whether it be on the show, on the radio, or we also do some I guess you call them extras. Extra chats. I don't know. We might have a special name for it that we may come up with later, but you can feel free to comment. And if you want to comment on our wardrobe choices today, I'm wearing a flannel shirt because it's a little chilly here at my house. You're wearing a black.
One of my favorite go-to black sweatshirts. Yeah.
Is that one of those sweatshirts that you have multiples of?
That is. This is the one. Or one of many, yeah.
Which I think, I don't have multiples of one thing, but I think that's a genius choice because I'm pretty sure from what you've told me in the past, that is one that you bought multiples of, and they don't make it anymore.
That's true. I bought multiples of them. I must have bought them out, and they said, "We're done. That's enough." And honestly, I have tried to find the replica of this or a similar fit from others, and they may look the same, they may look similar, they don't feel the same.
Yeah, you maybe find one on eBay or something like that.
Maybe like one of those container truck things full of them somewhere. I would like that.
Maybe there's somebody like you that decided to buy multiples of some of that. And that honestly, it's not hoarding if you buy multiples of one or two of a sweater that you really like. Now, if you buy like 5 or 6 or 10, that would be considered hoarding.
No, as long as I keep them clean and hung up in the closet.
Okay.
Or folded, and as long as they're organized, it's not hoarding.
Okay, because I know my grandfather, when he had passed away, we were cleaning out the house, and I don't know if it was because he needed to spend money at the end of the year or what, but he had tons of random things, including work gloves, like leather work gloves. He was a farmer. Pairs of jeans, just tons and tons of things with the tags still on them.
Oh, still on it.
Still on them.
Okay.
Even in storage bins and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know. It was definitely in what I would have considered hoarding, but also pretty smart, because it's like if you find that good pair of jeans or those good work gloves, I appreciate them because they had the mediums and I have really small hands. So I said, "Ooh, thanks, Grandpa. I will inherit these gloves, and these will be my new work gloves."
Nice.
So there you go. Yeah, there's a line between hoarding and smart purchases.
There you go.
Speaking of purchases, or I guess spending money, there's some chats, a listening tour that happened, what was it, yesterday, with Representative Joey Andrews talking about short-term rentals.
Yes.
And that, how did that chat go?
Supposedly it went pretty well. I mean, this was one of several that were held in the region this week. State Representative Joey Andrews talking about legislation to regulate short-term rentals. He says it's coming together in Lansing, and he's been spreading the word this week with a series of what he's been calling the listening sessions. The legislation is pretty much, the ink is dry. Groups have already seen it, so he's going around asking constituents, What if we did this? He
Mhm.
spoke in St. Joe yesterday. It was a packed house. And Andrews told us that legislation coming together would allow local governments to continue setting their own rules for vacation rentals within residential zones. He
Okay.
says local control was really the guiding light here. We wanted communities to be able to do what was best for them. St. Joe has found a really good balance, he said. And he says, we don't want to upset that balance. So we're trying to
Mhm.
build a framework around the issue so we could ease the burden that all municipalities have found around enforcement and tax revenue without trying to tell them how to govern. Now, that sounds nice, but the realtors have got a copy of the legislation. They're not so pleased with it.
Sure.
They say, okay, well, this will allow the Airbnb type situations to exist in all
Mhm.
municipalities, but a municipality could comply with that new state law by saying, well, we've got one Airbnb, we've got
Mhm.
one short term rental. That's enough. That meets the spirit of the law, doesn't it?
Sure.
So the package would create a state registry for short term rentals through which residents could lodge complaints. It would also expand the hotel tax to cover short term rentals. So you would have a short term rental taxed at the same occupancy as a hotel. And some are
Oh,
saying, "Well, wait a second. This isn't a commercial operation. This
yeah.
is my side gig here. So don't tax me like a hotel." About 1% of the money generated from the new tax would go to pay for the registry that they're keeping, while the other 5% would go back into the local municipalities so they could recoup any costs related to creating the short-term rental guidelines.
Hmm.
Yeah, so South Haven, New Buffalo, St. Joe, Saugatuck is on the schedule as well. You think about where these short-term rentals are popular. It's a lot of the areas that they're coastal, and a lot of people want to
Mhm.
vacation there. And so municipalities are having a heck of a time trying to figure out what to do, how to regulate, how many do you have, how many do you allow. South Haven, for instance, says, well, somewhere between one third and one quarter
Yeah.
of our single family homes could be short-term rental. That's having an impact on the housing prices overall.
Mhm.
So there's a lot to consider here. So Joey Andrews wading into that.
Yeah, and obviously, all those towns, that you mentioned, all beautiful towns, they have, like a lot of you said, a lot of the short-term rental, chats that are going on, but also that's his entire district, and I'm sure even all the way up the coast and all the way around the Mitten, all those
Oh
beautiful
yeah.
places that, more expensive homes and, beautiful, scenery. This conversation is not done, from what
No.
it sounds like. It's gonna go on for a while, and I'm sure, he's gonna have, groups like the Association of Realtors and other
Yep.
people, that are going to fight this and try and figure out what might be the best solution. So, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, because honestly, I mean, if you look at what's happening in South Haven, they haven't figured out what they need to do. I
Mhm,
mean, they've had public hearings on it. The city manager has gone to the council or the commission and said, "Hey, give me some guidance here. Where do you want it? Do you want it at one or do you want it at 500?
mhm.
Number of short-term rentals within our town," and they just don't. They can't come to agreement. So if the state steps in, that will set some guidelines, but are they the right guidelines? We'll see.
Yeah, the regulation of all that. I like the idea of the local, control a little
Yep,
bit on that, or local say, as opposed to the entire state, because, every community is different, even
yep.
as far up the coast. So we'll have to learn more about that at WSJM.com, because I'm sure this story is not the end of
It's not the
this
end.
this
Well,
saga.
and then you also think about, it's not just affecting the coastal areas. We saw in a report earlier this week what happens to the economy of the Tri-County area, most specifically Van Buren County, when you have a Palisades nuclear power plant shut down.
Mhm,
What they said was, well, one of the viable economic alternatives would be to turn to agritourism business. We have such a vibrant agricultural economy here,
yep,
and some are already doing that agritourism business, whether that be in your blueberry patches or your vineyards or your lavender fields, whatever. That is something that also could attract uh, different economies,
mhm.
short-term rentals, that kind of thing to boost the tourism. Then if you have to consider how that would be structured with new state regulation. Again, something to be thinking about as you look not only a year, 2 years, 5 years into the future, but a couple of decades.
Absolutely. Other things going on. We know in the news we've talked about the Florida hurricane, but also the most recently the wildfires that were happening in Maui and the
Right.
devastating damage with that. But there is going to be a basketball game with Michigan State
That's
doing a
right.
benefit for that for the folks in Maui, right?
That's exactly right. Michigan State's men's basketball team is hosting Tennessee in a charity exhibition game. It's going to happen on Sunday, October 29th at the Breslin Center.
Okay.
All proceeds from the game will be donated to the Hawaii Community Foundation Maui Strong Fund, providing financial resources to the relief efforts from the devastating Maui wildfires. Head coach Tom Izzo said the Maui Invitational and the city of Lahaina have always held a special place in my heart. The images we've all seen and the stories we've heard following the wildfires have touched so many of us in college basketball. And he knows personally that thoughts and prayers are with all those that have been affected. They also had plans to scrimmage last fall, and they
Mhm.
spoke about what they could do to help honor the city of Lahaina and the people there who are in great need. He says he's hopeful that the Spartan family will pack the Breslin Center for what will be a great game and also one with a greater mission, and that's to help the community in Maui as much as they can.
That's great, and that's October what day was it again?
October 29 at the Breslin Center.
Oh, man, that's gonna be great. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's always, I always love watching that Maui Invitational every time that comes around because that's that good sort of towards the beginning of the season to see how the teams are going to fare, but this is way more than basketball,
way more.
with this, and doing that fundraiser, so, yeah, hopefully it packs the Breslin Center. I feel like they'll need to play, an extra game, just pack it and then pack it again or put
They
some
could have an overflow center maybe at every stadium around the state. Who knows?
or get some up close and personal. Maybe they'll get so packed they'll have to actually put chairs on the court so that they
Ah.
can create like an obstacle course. Instead, the game isn't the full 94 feet of the basketball game. Maybe they do a half court and they just play horse or something like that.
That just sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, maybe. No, I think it'll be fun.
All right. Okay.
If Tom Izzo approves of it, then that's okay.
Okay. All right.
But that's great. So yeah, mark your calendars for that. But lots more to get to here in just a little bit. We'll catch you up with news, sports, and your Bloomberg Market Minute all next. It's the morning show on 94.9 WSJM.
Just as the roots of a mighty oak run deep.
All right.
There
Yeah,
we go.
looking forward to that basketball game. That should
Yeah,
be-
that'll be fun. That'll be fun. That's a nice thing to do.
Have you
Saw
ever
that
been to
they
the Breslin Center?
I have not.
Yeah,
Have you?
it's a cool spot. Yeah,
Okay.
good stadium. I know that's where a lot of kids that play basketball, if they make it far enough into the state tournament, they get to be on the same court as the Michigan State Spartans and be part of that on the Breslin Center. So that's
Do they bounce the ball? Do the coaches bounce the ball and say, "Hey," or take a measuring tape and say, "This
all
is
like
the
Hoosiers.
same size. This is the same size as a regulation court."
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that scene.
probably. Yeah, that is one of probably the most iconic scenes. Uh, and it brings perspective to the
It
whole
does.
thing because yeah, you look out in the crowd and yes, you may see 50, 60,000 seats. And then, at your basketball stadium at home, there's probably a couple hundred. So yeah, that's totally true.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you see I mean, think about it. What we saw the other day, was it Nebraska set a
oh
world record
yeah, that was pretty cool for their a
for the women.
volleyball.
That's right. Largest crowd to
90
witness a women's sport event filling Memorial Stadium on Wednesday.
92,000. Wow,
92,000 fans. Oh,
that's amazing.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, against Omaha State.
that's right.
So yeah, that's a cool thing is volleyball doesn't, volleyball usually plays in the basketball stadium, but they probably don't fill up the stadium all that much. But to be able to do something like that, plus it would be cool to play basketball or play volleyball outside because you don't get to experience that usually unless you're playing beach volleyball.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
So
pretty cool.
But that was a sight to see. I mean, and I just felt the excitement that the teams had on the court there,
Mhm.
playing before that many fans, never before.
Yeah,
That's
because like,
great.
the football players, when they have a big game, they'll usually pack the place,
Yeah.
and so it's normal for them, but for the volleyball team, yeah, that's something they don't usually get to experience, so that's pretty cool.
I
Uh,
mean, what size was what population was the town you grew up in?
about well, Eau Claire is, I don't know, like 300. It's not that many, or maybe 1,000. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check.
Mine mine was maximum 3,000.
Mhm.
And to fill a st it always boggles my mind to see a stadium filled with tens of thousands of people, but they had 92,000 people there. That's moving, let's see, if I do the math real quick, it's moving 30,000 of my communities.
Mm. 2021, last they checked,
3,000?
2021, in
Yeah.
Eau Claire, about 550.
People.
550 people, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. That's
Small town.
nice.
Small town
Small
here
town.
in Southwest Michigan.
Very nice.
It's a cozy town. That's what it
Cozy town. Very nice.
um,
They
yeah,
listen to
that's
Cozy?
pretty awesome. Of course, I'm pretty sure they only listen to 94.9 in Eau
Good.
Claire from what I'm pretty positive about
Mm,
that,
as well they
uh,
should.
and, they're yet to, erect a statue of me. They have not done that yet. They haven't named any of these sports arenas or football fields. Football field already has a name, so it's maybe I could get, like, the press box or something like that named after me,
The Johnny
or
Reinhardt press box.
the
If
John
you
Reinhardt Gatorade, jug.
Station. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, the jug. You could do the
yeah,
jug.
yeah.
Yeah. I
That'd
think
be
you
great.
have to raise money for that, so you have to start a fundraiser.
Hmm.
You should do, like, a GoFundMe or something like that.
Alright, I got it. I'll
It
start
could
it
be
right
good.
now.
It
Feel
could be
free if
good.
anybody wants to comment, with your donation amount, feel free to do that.
Oh, goodness.
Alright, well, let's get back to the show here for a moment.
This is a
Okay.
Bloomberg Money Minute. The August employment report will likely set the tone for the Friday session on Wall Street. Economists think the pace of job creation moderated last month with 170,000 workers added to payrolls. They think the unemployment rate held steady at 3.5%. Stocks ended mixed yesterday. The Dow lost 168 points, the S&P fell 7 points, the Nasdaq ended 16 points higher. Shares of Dell Technologies moved higher after the market closed yesterday as the company reported better than expected sales of computers and data center hardware. Dell is also seeing demand for products that help businesses use artificial intelligence and says that's a long-term tailwind. Meanwhile, Lululemon was among the winners in after hours trading. The athletic wear retailer raised its outlook for the year and reported that comparable sales for the latest quarter were up 11%. Lululemon's results show that shoppers are still willing to spend on popular brands. Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Jonny and Ken on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
Good morning. Going to be a busy weekend with Labor Day. I know a lot of people are going to be traveling. Are you taking any Labor Day trips,
I
whether it
think we'll
be short or long?
Yeah, I think we'll do day trips. Day
Okay.
trips, just poke around and see what's going on. I mean, this is one of the best times of the year for getting some fresh produce. People are
Mhm.
starting to harvest some more of the squash type things, the bigger ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be
Um,
nice.
Gonna be perfect weather for today and all the way through the weekend into next week. Sunny, 83 today. Clear skies tonight, low down to 60. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, all sunny skies and a low or high 80s to low 90s.
You have to work part of the weekend,
I
but you're
do. Yeah, I get to go over to. It's not really work. I don't consider my job to be work.
well,
Um,
exactly. Yeah,
it's fun, and
we enjoy it.
I get to go hang out in Sister Lakes.
Okay,
They're gonna be doing their Labor Day fireworks, and it's gonna be right there, I believe by the Lions Club right there in
nice.
Sister Lakes. Yeah, I get to hang out, play some music, watch the fireworks, eat some hot dogs, uh, possibly, watch a football game because I know last time, I believe trying to think. There was a night game between I feel like it was Ohio State game or something like that that people were watching it. They like carted out the big screen TV, put it out under the pavilion, and we
Oh,
watched football while we ate hot dogs. That's America right there.
very nice, and fireworks, you can't beat it.
Yeah, and it was a good fireworks show.
But
Good
will you
fireworks show.
do anything other than the Sister Lakes?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We haven't
Okay.
really made any plans for it
Unscheduled.
yet. Yeah,
Good. Relaxation time then.
yet to be determined.
Nice.
Uh,
That'll
yeah,
be nice.
so we'll see. But lots of things going on in the news that we need to talk about here in just a little while. Later on with the Moody on the Market update, a lot of activity happening off Pipestone Road.
Former
Uh,
Texas Corral
mhm.
getting some, I don't know if you could call it some love yet, because when I stopped by there, they're actually just pulling a bunch of junk out.
Okay.
They're tearing up the place, kinda getting it ready for sale, and so one of
Hmm.
our reporters went over there and talked with the owner of the building and, got us an update.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing more about that. Plus, we'll catch you up with sports. Right now, let's find out what's happening in the news this morning.
WSJM News now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
In the WSJM newsroom, I'm Michael Arning. Legislation on short-term rentals is coming together.
So,
Shall we talk over the news? What do
yeah,
you?
let's
Yeah,
talk over the news,
okay.
because we just talked about short-term rentals a moment
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, you're right.
The Texas Corral thing was
Mhm.
interesting, because I was driving around the mall, that's right next to Orchards
Yeah.
Mall in Benton Township, and because we had been seeing on social media, a couple of people had stopped me and said, "Hey, have you seen what the lack of seagulls or gulls, whatever they are,
Mhm.
lake gulls,
Mhm.
the gulls at the Orchards Mall recently?"
Yeah.
So I had to go see it with my own eyes, and for sure enough, no seagulls. All the
Mhm.
seagulls are gone, and there were thousands of
Yeah.
gulls on top of the Orchards Mall. Now, you had, uh, mentioned that, well, maybe we could hear from a bird expert and
Mhm.
understand, did they just migrate somewhere? Well, here's what I found out. I
You
talked
reached
with
out you found a bird expert?
I did not find a bird expert, but I found a government expert who found out
Oh,
what happened.
okay, okay,
And when they originally so Orchards Mall's owners, yeah, they're behind on their on their
sure.
property taxes. Yeah, they don't maintain the landscaping, and the township has to go in and do that, and they charge
Mhm.
them.
Mhm.
Yes, they're not paying their sewer bill. Yes, they apparently had their power shut off recently for a couple of days, and had to pay the bill to get it turned
The
back on.
list goes on.
The list goes on, but what they did do was write a check to a company out of Chicago for these anti-bird devices, these little hearing devices that put out a signal that only birds can hear, or at
Yeah.
least birds can hear, and it chases them away. So they got a stack of those, and they put them out, and they put them out wrong. So it did nothing to deter the seagulls.
Mm.
But
You know,
then go
I
ahead.
just sidebar, what kind of racket is that where you just I'm gonna start a business that's just like, "Oh, yeah, this will definitely get rid of them because this is a sound that only cockroaches can hear,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
just only gonna get rid of your cockroach problem."
Well, it's just like those little things that you buy, you put on your car. Oh, yeah, this will chase the deer away.
The deer things, yeah.
Do those ever work? We don't know.
Yeah. You may just be it's may just be a placebo kinda thing where you're just like, "Yeah, I think this is gonna work. I'll put it on my car."
Yeah,
It still looks okay because it's kinda slick. The design is sleek, so it still fits within my car. It doesn't stick
yeah.
out.
And there's
Yeah,
probably a disclaimer that says this is not intended to work on zombie deer or something like that.
exactly, exactly.
Anyway,
Um,
so they called the Chicago company back and said,
mhm,
"Hey, we put your devices on the roof. It didn't work. We still have tens of thousands of birds
sure.
on top of the mall. We still have, WSJM writing about it, so
Mhm.
help us." So their experts came back in and said, "All right, well, you did it wrong. You didn't follow instructions. Put it here, 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 and here, and it'll work." And that's what they did, and
Gee.
now the birds are gone.
Okay. So
But the mess, the incredible mess is still there.
So maybe it worked, maybe it didn't, because as other people had said, there was a lot of chatter
Yeah,
on Facebook about that when somebody noticed there were no goals,
yeah.
is that they said, "Well, it's mating season and everything is over. The baby seagulls, they are all gone." Um, let's get Diane's comment on there about the seagull or not the deer whistle
Oh,
thing.
no. Oh, no.
Diane says she had a deer whistle and it seemed to call the deer to her.
That's not good.
Diane, did you have it flipped around maybe? Maybe
She had it backwards.
yeah, he had it on backwards. Oh, jeez. Yeah,
That's not good.
I think I'm trying to think because I know when I was a kid, I was probably my mom still talks about it. When I was probably 3 or 4, we got in a car accident with a deer, a
Oh,
big
no.
nasty deer hit, and I think it
Oh,
pretty much
no.
totaled our minivan.
Oh, geez.
And, yeah, my mom was, devastated because she's like, "Yeah, that deer just kinda came out of nowhere and smacked right in there."
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, it was
Nobody hurt.
bad, and that's yeah, nobody was hurt, I was fine, I mean,
How many
so,
points on the antlers?
I don't know. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we had venison later on no, I'm kidding.
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. Uh, but yeah, that's something to watch out for because this is that time of year, I think,
It
for
is. It is.
deer, right?
They get into the rut soon. I think that starts more, I don't know, is it September, October, where the deer are a little bit crazy. They're
Mhm.
going in heavy into mating season and they do dumb things like run across roads and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you do have to be careful.
Diane says, it was a pretty scary situation for
Mm,
her, and she
it was
hit
a
a
doe.
doe. It was just a
Yeah.
doe. I hit a deer once, I've only a couple times, I think, have hit a deer, but I hit it because, well, it was that time of year where deer
Yeah.
were out, but, I still, blame myself because, I didn't listen to Jocelyn.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we were living out, Sister Lakes area at the
Yeah.
time. I had to go to, a rehearsal for something, and she said, "Don't go down this one road
Oh,
'cause there's
no.
a lot of deer. You gotta watch out. Just go around. Take a longer route to
Yeah.
go." Well, I was running late, and I thought, "Pff, I'll just be hyper aware and
Mhm.
I'll be fine. I'm a good driver. I don't drive very fast down these roads. I should be able to see a deer."
Mhm. Mhm.
This deer just he wanted to get hit.
Oh,
It was
no.
like he was running alongside of me, looked at me, and he was like instead of, running away
Yeah.
from me, he just kinda looked and then he like if you ever watch, wrestling, like WWE,
Yeah.
he just, like, from the top rope,
Oh,
just
no.
slammed on top of my car, like,
Oh,
didn't even, like, let me accidentally have me hit it. He just was like, you're slowing down? Oh, you're trying to avoid me? How about I just power bomb on the top
oh,
car?"
jeez.
Yeah. Didn't total my car, but,
Oh,
it made for a very difficult, way to open up the hood.
that's
So,
scary.
yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, so some of those deer and it was a buck. It was, at least a 6 pointer. Yeah, it was a big fella,
Very
so,
nice.
yeah, but
Yikes.
not fun, but yeah, that's that time of year, so kids, or parents, watch out for all that, especially, young kids that are high schoolers getting out
Yeah.
driving, for the first season. Just be careful.
Yeah.
Do they still sell those deer whistles?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do.
Um, okay, so Orchards Mall, the gulls are gone.
Oh, yeah. So the but they have the property tax. The property tax won't go away like the gulls.
Yeah.
But the summer property taxes are due, I think, either September 14th or 15th. I think it's the 14th. And, with the summer property taxes, which they historically have not paid on time,
Mhm.
their property tax bill, including the sewer liens and the utility or the cleanup liens,
Sure.
uh, close to $400,000. And the Berrien County treasurer has already communicated with them a couple of weeks ago and said, "Hey, look, we need you to come up due. You
Mhm.
need to pay at least your 2020 taxes and your 2021 taxes. You need to bring those current by
Yeah.
March of next year. Otherwise, your property is going to go onto the auction block."
Oh my.
Yeah, so I did talk with the owner's representative of the mall,
Mhm.
and he said, "We have every intention of paying, but you know what?" He said that a lot to a lot of people, and everyone that I've talked to, save none, have said, "We hear a lot of talk, we don't
Mhm.
see a lot of action."
Interesting. You know what they should have done?
Hmm,
We were talking short-term rentals earlier.
yeah.
Why weren't they charging these gulls?
Right, right.
There needs to be a gull tax. If there was a goal tax, we wouldn't have this problem. That's what we need, because we talked about czars for things. They need a goal czar,
They need a gold czar.
somebody that can speak to the goals, maybe with those special sound machines. And then at least the sound machine was silent and it wasn't just like the sound of another seagull or what is the bird of prey that seagulls don't like? Would it be like
Pterodactyl.
hawks, some sort of type of hawk maybe?
Do crows and
Screech
seagulls?
owl?
Yeah, I mean, an owl would probably be something like that, but, yeah, I don't know, whatever the natural predator would be.
Yeah. Usually,
Uh,
because what usually, some farmers and some people will do is they'll have even just like say if there's a screech owl that is something that is the bird of prey for whatever your pest you're trying to get rid of, you'll just have a sound thing that'll just have a screech owl going.
yeah.
Maybe that'll work.
Did
Uh,
we, did Andrew put his, movie thing in?
he did not. He did not do the
Okay,
flick pick. We do not
okay.
have a flick pick
I
for
know why that happened.
why was it? No good
Be
movies?
No, he wanted to go to the movies so he
Mhm.
could build a review for this week, but he came into me kinda like, "Oh, sorry
Yeah.
about that." And what happened was Friday night, I told you he was having car problems,
Yeah.
and his wheel was going like this, and it was
Yeah.
scraping, and so he didn't have his car all weekend, so he couldn't get to the
Oh.
movie house.
So but he didn't wanna stream anything?
Well, we talked about that.
Mm.
He saw something last year, and I said, if you wanna do it, if you're comfortable doing it,
Sure. Sure.
go for it." Because a lot of people, I mean, myself included, I much rather see stuff on streaming these days, and it comes out
Yeah.
so quickly.
It does. I just started watching it late last night, and so I paused it, about, half hour in, is the new Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, is it good?
It's pretty good.
Okay.
I was hoping they'd have the classic, "It's me, Mario," that kind of accent, but they
Yeah,
they only do it for a short period of time.
okay.
But it's fun. I
Yeah.
really enjoy it 'cause, I think it's one of those much like, the Shrek movies and some of those other kids movies, you're noticing more and more with kids movies, they're putting jokes in there
Mm,
that, may be over the head of the kids, but right on target to the parents.
got it.
So they're clean jokes, they're fun jokes, there's a lot of fun little things in there. I like the voice actors. Jack Black's in there, he plays, King Koopa, so
Oh,
he's fantastic, of course. But yeah, it's a fun story. I'm at the first act, I guess, of the movie,
is
but,
it long? How long is it?
I think maybe an hour and a half or so, but I'm probably
Okay.
about a half an hour into the thing. But
Oh.
it's, yeah, I would say solid. So the reviews that we got from not only Andrew, but, other people, that you saw, like Rotten Tomato and stuff like that, it's overall, I'd say pretty good movie. I saw it on, I think it's on Peacock. So if anybody's got Peacock and wants to check that out there, but you're totally right. When movies, because it kind of started with the pandemic where that they were doing is they were releasing it in theaters, but then also making it available in what they were calling like cinema at home. And you could pay like $10 or whatever to uh watch the movie for the weekend. And sometimes it's worth it because movie tickets can in some places, if you go, there's a couple of you, if you're bringing the kids or whatever, it can be pretty costly.
Did
So,
you see did you see what they're doing now with, Taylor Swift?
mm-mm.
In the movie theaters, they are
Oh,
gonna show the Eras Tour, a
yeah.
movie, in the theaters. Now, I think that's smart on a couple of reasons. Number 1, great new way for her to make some revenue.
Mhm.
Not that she needs any, but, it's a nice another avenue. But because you don't have writers and actors working right now, you
Yep.
gotta fill some of the gaps for movies that maybe you were expecting, or you were expecting, this movie is
Mhm.
gonna make it, but we need the star power to get out there and promote it. They can't promote it because 'cause they're on
Yeah.
strike.
And they do that sometimes with some of those big epic tours like that, and I would pay for it like virtual reality style. Like, give me that
Oh,
virtual reality,
yeah.
video of a Taylor Swift concert,
So
or
so
any big concert.
would you get the experience that you could afford? So, like, for my tickets, I would be way up in the
Wait a minute.
back,
Yeah, give me the
and
nosebleeds
so
section.
Taylor would be this big.
Yeah, exactly. That's what would happen. Yeah, give me the nosebleed section, and then, like,
Somebody would keep standing up in front of me.
a trip to the bathroom and, and all that stuff, the
All that.
concession stand, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the show here.
Upper
All
70s
right.
along the lake shore. Waves are going to stay low really through the weekend. Clear skies tonight down to 60 and mostly sunny and hotter on Saturday with a high of 87. We should be close to 90 on Sunday and Monday. I'm meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Jonny and Ken on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
Got to tell you, if you're not watching us on Facebook and YouTube right now on our live stream, you are missing out on some golden conversations. I just got to
Really?
say, yeah, I would say. I mean,
Okay.
I think they were good.
They were good. We were having fun.
Yeah, we were talking about all kinds of different things, including the watching out for deer, the little
Yes.
deer whistles, and thanks to Diane for having that conversation with us. Feel free to comment if you'd like. But we still have a lot of news and things to get to. So as we look into the bucket of things that we still need to talk about, what's something that's hot there, Ken?
As kids get back to school, you start thinking about some of the things that they might get caught doing that you don't want to be doing. And
Mm,
that includes e-cigarettes. And so Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel and a bipartisan coalition of 33 other attorneys general are calling on the FDA, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and the Center for Tobacco Products to do more to protect kids from e-cigarettes.
mm,
And Nestle's suggestions include limiting the flavors that draw kids in, reducing nicotine levels to prevent addiction, and protecting young people from marketing. And so the attorneys general have sent a letter to the FDA to say, "Hey, look, do these four things for us,
mhm,
please, because it's really a rising epidemic among young people who think these vapes and the e-cigarettes and everything else are really cool." So they want to prohibit all non-tobacco flavors in e-cigarettes,
okay.
because right now the flavors, if you've seen them, they mimic fruit,
Mhm,
candy, desserts, and the attorneys general say this is a major reason young people are trying the e-cigarettes in the first place. Number two, they want to enact evidence-based limits on nicotine in e-cigarettes. They say more than 80% of e-cigarettes sold have more than 5% of nicotine concentration.
oh my
And
god.
because some devices last for hundreds or thousands of puffs, young people end
Mhm.
up consuming much more nicotine.
Jeez. Yeah,
Number
that's a
three,
problem.
they want to restrict marketing that attracts young people by making sure that marketing materials do not target young people and prevent young people from being bombarded with ads about e-cigarettes. E-cigarette manufacturers are using social media and influencer marketing to entice
Mhm.
teenagers. They say, knock it off. And then finally, they want to close the disposable loophole. What they say, disposable e-cigarettes have not been subject to the same existing FDA enforcement guidance as cartridge e-cigarettes, and they've surged in popularity. More than half of youth e-cigarette users last year reported that they use disposable e-cigarettes instead of the cartridge-based e-cigarettes. It's a loophole, and the attorneys general want to shut it down.
Ah, geez, yeah, just yet another problem that school administrators have to deal with too. Of kids in the bathroom or kids wherever in school on campus, doing that, and parents having to watch out for that too. So,
Yeah, yeah. No more smoking in the boys' room.
yeah, no more of that. We're doing the show from our respective houses right now, and I am what you would call, or what people would say, a hop, skip, and a jump
Oh,
away from the Indec Energy Niles power plant down the
yep,
road there.
indeed.
And I know there was some issues with noise. A lot of people saying, "Hey, it's too loud. It's not as
Yes,
loud. It's too lot louder than you said it was going to be." And now the Michigan Department of Environment and Great Lakes and Energy, they're doing a hearing coming up
that's right.
here next week.
That's right. Eagle has set a hearing for the Niles Power Plant. That's the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy have scheduled a virtual hearing to consider a request from Indec Energy Service in Niles to amend its air emissions permit. Now, for those of you who following, you already know this isn't to emit more
Mhm.
emissions. This is actually to lower the number of emissions, but they have to change some equipment that they're using in order to do that. So they're following the process here. The natural gas plant is seeking to change the permit to reflect the equipment that's actually on site. They already have it there. They just
Okay.
need a permit to start it up. Eagle says the permit it's requesting would lower the emissions that it's allowed to produce. Indec asked for the amendment this summer. Eagle started taking public comments in July, and due to a member of the public requesting it, the hearing will now happen on September 6th, next week at 6 p.m. And we have a link on our story on the website wsjm.com where you can register in advance to attend, or you can just show up at the scheduled time and they will let you
Mhm.
in.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, I'm sure there will be questions about the noise and
Mhm.
why they're doing what they're doing here. So, clearly, an interested member of the public had the opportunity to request more information
Sure.
and a hearing, and that's what's going to happen.
And it's always nice, I mean, because it's, at least to have a hearing like this on a number of different things and at least take public comment because it is still a new thing to the
Yep.
community. So I'm sure a lot of people have different types of questions, everything from noise to emissions to everything in between. So be on the lookout for that. Check that out at WSJM.com. Speaking of things happening and movement,
Yeah.
we've noticed some movement happening at the old Texas Corral off Pipestone. We got to talk more about that because we caught up with the building owner,
That's right.
learn more. So that's coming up in our Moody on the Market update here in just about a minute. It's the morning show on 94.9 WSJM.
There is a place in Southwest Michigan where a fresh and innovative.
All right, looking forward to that. It's nice to see activity happening, even if
Mhm.
it's just to get the place looking nicer or more, I guess, suited to sell because I know, just from reading the bits and pieces of the story at moodyonthemarket.com, anytime a restaurant, especially like one that's more of a specialty kind of design and look like a Texas Corral,
Exactly.
it's hard to, make it suitable for a different type of restaurant to come in. So it's kind of clean the slate a little bit,
Yeah.
to make it more enticing for some of these restaurants, whether it be a big chain. I heard, chatter of certain, national chains possibly being there.
Dave and Buster's.
Dave& and Buster's, I think somebody said there needs to be an Olive Garden there,
Oh, yeah.
um, because,
Yeah.
when you're there, you're family. Is that still the tagline? I
I
don't know.
don't know.
But,
I
yeah,
don't know.
every time, any space, large space is empty, of course, people wanna bring in whatever said national brand, so we'll see what ends up happening with that.
Well, people do wonder if, let me know if we have to go back on the air here, but people do wonder what's gonna happen with, the mall and should, all that development around there, are they
Mhm,
going to develop if the mall is still in the state that it's in?
mhm. When you wanna know Southwest Michigan's business, you can always find it at moodyonthemarket.com and the Moody on the Market app, and you can, check out the Moody on the Move series as well as, our, Moody on the Market awards program, all of that right there at moodyonthemarket.com in the app. Your update brought to you by our friends at Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owners agency with locations in St. Joseph and in Niles, and some, activity happening at the old Texas Corral on Pipestone Road.
Yeah, we received some inquiries from Moody on the Market readers who were noticing recent cleanup, repair, and maintenance activity going on at the former Texas Corral slash Red Lobster site on Pipestone Road near the Benton
Mm,
Harbor Aldi, right across the big old parking lot from the Orchards Mall.
right.
People were wondering, hey, what's going to go in there? Is it going to be a new eatery of some sort? We don't know yet. But
Mhm.
apparently, there's no deal in the works. The observed activity is not for a new buyer. They're just basically trying to clean up the place, make a white box out of it so that any potential buyer doesn't have to really imagine too much beyond
Mhm.
some clean floors and the white walls. Now, the word comes from real estate developer who controls the site, Jim Paul of JPA Real Estate. Paul's the investor who spent several years successfully redeveloping Fairplain Plaza and most recently spearheaded the rebirth of an old commercial strip center on M139 as the new location of the Joann Fabric and Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Jim Paul specializes in resurrecting challenging commercial properties.
Yeah, he explained to our team at moodyonthemarket.com that quote unquote fix up work was underway at the old Texas Corral site. It's targeted at helping the property present more positively to restaurant chains or others who might consider the site with its good traffic count and several attractive neighboring businesses. Workers have been mowing the lawn, trimming the trees and shrubs, and then even clearing out some interior items that were exclusively installed for Texas Corral.
That's right. Paul believes the property is in a great location despite being near the nearly dead Orchards
Mhm.
Mall. He said the mall has no significant effect negatively on the restaurant nearby and pointed out a big advantage among restaurant development sites. He said there are 10 hotels within
Mhm.
about a mile radius of the site and only one nationally branded sit down restaurant, which is Applebee's, in that
Right.
same radius. So Paul says the challenge any developer will face is just matching the right opportunity to that location. So you can read the full story and more on moodyonthemarket.com. Could be an exciting development.
I
10
think so.
hotels, one nationally branded sit down restaurant. Seems like opportunity.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, and I've loved having conversations with Jim over the years about, because he's such a smart guy and knows, what a lot of statistics on things like that, and just looking
Yeah.
at, these high traffic corridors and not having more and more of these either national brands, and it's never good to have a building just sitting for a while. So it's nice
No.
that they're able to get in there, get the thing ready to go for a potential suitor of any kind. Who knows what it'll be? We'll have to wait and see, but I know that when we do find out that information, we'll have it for you at moodyonthemarket.com
That's right.
and on the app. Your update brought to you by our friends at Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owners agency with locations in St. Joseph and in Niles.
We're watching over you.
All right, yeah, that's exciting stuff to see. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. I mean, if anybody has any suggestions on what it should be, feel free to either comment on this video, send us some information. But yeah, I don't know. What would you want to see happen in that old place? So you had it was, I believe, originally built when it was a Red Lobster. Then it was turned into Texas Corral. But yeah,
Yeah.
when you look at that and when you're trying to, as a real estate developer, you're walking in and you're kind of trying to envision what layout and all that look like. Yeah, the design of a Texas Corral, you may just think, okay, well, I'm not going to be, Southwest kind of roadhouse kind of, steak place. Maybe I'm thinking something else and to make it more of that sort of clean slate, I think is a better idea.
Yeah, and honestly, the points that he raises about the hotels
Yeah.
being nearby, and you've got the proximity of 94, it does seem like a really good opportunity if you can overcome the blight that is the
Mhm,
Orchards Mall.
mhm.
And so, as long as they put something nice in there and maybe
Yeah.
anchor something like an Apple store. Let's put an Apple store in there and then put a restaurant next to it, so you have a destination.
Let's just make the entire Orchards Mall one giant Apple store,
That is genius.
and it makes sense, and it definitely coincides with the brand. You could just call it the Apple Orchards Mall.
I like it. I like it.
I think that is a mic dropper. I think we end the show. We are
That's it.
good to go. But we are gonna wrap up our
Yeah.
live, stream here for today. But, thank you so much for those
Yeah.
people that have commented. Thank you, Diane, for sharing your deer story. But thank
Oh,
you
dear.
all. Yeah,
Yes.
oh dear. Wanna feel free to comment on anything if any of the stuff we've talked about today as you're later, feel free to throw some comments in. Definitely get back to you at some point. But, We still got on your radio and on the WSJM app.